The evening fog creeps in like a thief, wrapping tightly around the rickety old cabin nestled deep in the woods. Shadows bend and twist as the dying sun sinks beneath the horizon, leaving behind a blood-red sky that bleeds into the darkness. You can feel the chill seeping into your bones. You draw your cardigan closer around your shoulders, an impulse to ward off the unsettling atmosphere pressing upon you. An owl hoots in the distance, a mournful sound that only deepens the isolation you feel. You came here to escape, to find solace in the woods, away from the incessant noise of the city and the nagging thoughts that claw at you like a wild animal desperate for freedom. The cabin is old, its wooden beams creaking with each gust of wind, but it's charming in a way. You've lit a fire, and the crackle of the flames dances in rhythm with the growing night outside. Shadows flicker across the walls, forming shapes that tease your imagination. But something feels off. It's the stillness, perhaps, an unsettling quiet that thickens the air. The rustling leaves and the occasional sigh of the wind are drowned by something deeper, lurking just at the edge of your perception. You take a deep breath, reminding yourself why you're here, peace and quiet. Yet the silence feels heavy, almost expectant, as if the woods themselves are holding their breath along with you. You feel the urge to wander outside, to breathe in the earth and pine, to discover the secrets hidden in the embrace of the trees. But as you step onto the porch, the stillness settles deeper into your skin. Taking a moment, you let your eyes adjust to the dim light. The full moon breaks through the clouds for just a moment, illuminating the clearing before you. Shadows stretch long and thin, and you wonder if you might have imagined the flicker of something in the periphery of your vision. You shake your head, dismissing it as fatigue. The day of travel has left you weary, your mind hazy with the remnants of city life. You decide to take a small stroll towards the edge of the woods. You've always loved how the trees seem to stand as sentinels, guarding the secrets of the past. The forest beckons you, and despite that gnawing sensation in the pit of your stomach, you take a step forward. The underbrush cracks beneath your boots, each sound amplified in the stillness. The ground feels damp, a lush carpet of moss and fallen leaves. You tread carefully, listening to the whisper of the trees high above. Yet as you delve deeper, the whispers begin to change, growing hushed. It's as if the woods are warning you to step back, a warning you choose to ignore. You wander further until the space opens up into a small clearing. Moonlight spills down through the openings in the canopy above, and you feel a strange sense of calm wash over you, momentarily dispelling the unease. The air is thick with the scent of pine and loam. In the center of the clearing, you discover an ancient stone well, its top covered in a thick layer of moss. It's old. You can see the markings etched into the rough stone, worn not by time alone, but by some hand far older than man. You approach it cautiously, drawn in by an inexplicable urge to peer inside. A shiver prickles at the back of your neck, a sense of forbidding that you can't quite place. The darkness within the well seems to throb in the moonlight, calling out with a soft murmuring that tickles your ears. You lean over the edge, straining your eyes to see. Deep down, the darkness appears almost alive. You feel your heart quicken as the shadows seem to shift, swirling around something below, or perhaps someone. You shake your head again, telling yourself it's just the play of light and darkness. You step back, determined to dismiss the unsettling feeling growing inside you, but the well whispers on, a siren song that tugs at your curiosity. Yet, as you turn to head back toward the cabin, a feeling washes over you, the realization that you're not alone. A pulse of awareness, as if eyes from the shadows are watching every move you make. You double your pace, each step suddenly heavy and deliberate on the forest floor. The cabin comes into view, its outline a silhouette against the night, but as you approach, you notice a lingering chill hanging in the air, clinging to your skin. You brush off the sensations as nerves and fatigue and make your way inside, closing the door with a soft click. The once welcoming cabin now feels like a box, trapping you within the weight of the unnatural silence closing around you. You sit in front of the fire, the flames mirroring the turmoil swirling in your mind. You pull out your journal, a habit that helps you unearth your thoughts, but tonight, the words seem to evade you, slip through your fingers as if they're wrapped in fog. You close the book with a frustrated sigh and cradle your head in your hands, fighting the tide of exhaustion. Just as your eyelids begin to flutter, a sound rouses you from the edge of sleep, a faint tapping like a child's fingers drumming on wood. Startled, you look around, peering into the shadows that twist and turn in the corners of the cabin. There it is again, a small, persistent tapping. You rise, compelled by an irrational curiosity, and follow the sound to the back door. You don't remember leaving it open, but as you glance around, you see the latch is indeed unfastened, and swaying gently as if beckoning. A creeping sensation unfurls in your gut, a push to leave it alone, but the sound of tapping lingers, insistent. You pull the door open slowly, peering into the darkness once again. Nothing stirs, and yet the air feels charged, heavy with anticipation. You step outside, the cool air biting against your skin, renewing that sense of foreboding as the cabin looms behind you like a watching guardian. There is nothing but darkness, the shadows swallowing you whole. The tapping comes again, flickering in and out of your perception like a distant memory. You follow it cautiously, moving back toward the well, your heart racing. You see the stonework glinting in the moonlight, an ancient eye watching you. But now the tapping isn't coming from the well. It feels as if it's coming from deep within the woods, almost rhythmic, syncing up with your heartbeat. Suddenly, a rustling among the trees catches your attention. You feel the air around you shift, heavy and vibrant, as if something unseen is in motion. You glance behind you at the cabin, the stark light of your fire flickering like a warning beacon in the dark. Deep breath. You face the woods again. You approach the tree line, a sick, gnawing feeling tugging at your stomach. The tapping grows louder, more insistent. It seems to emanate from a patch of darkness, patterned with shapes that don't make sense. Twisting branches and shadows intertwine like a dance gone wrong. Your vision begins to blur, but there it is again. A flash, a glimpse of something moving within the hollows of the dark. You feel compelled to understand, to draw nearer, but the dread grips tighter. Just a few more steps, that curiosity propelling you forward no matter how hard you fight against it. And then you see it. A figure stands shrouded in darkness, barely illuminated by the moon. It's small, perhaps a child, and the moment you lock eyes, the air stills, the noise around you dissipating, until all that exists is the rustle of the leaves. It is draped in a ragged blanket, the outline almost indistinguishable from the shadows around it. Its head tilts slightly, as if expecting something from you, as if it knows you and remembers. The tapping returns with a vengeance, a sharp, maddening staccato that pulses in time to your racing heart. The child doesn't move aside. They remain locked in the shadows, watching, waiting. You want to run, to flee back to the safety of your cabin, but something, an invisible thread of fate, pulls you closer. "Are you lost?" you whisper, your voice barely breaking the tense silence. No response. Your throat feels dry, yet you step nearer, desperate to understand. The wind picks up, howling through the branches, and the figure ICS the sound, drumming its fingers against the frayed fabric of the blanket. The sound echoes through the trees, growing louder until it washes over you, crashing against your senses. You turn to flee, but the heaviness of the air constricts like a vice. You gasp, trying to force your legs to move as shadows writhe around you, now not just creeping but lurking hungrily at the edges of your vision. The child stands utterly still, a calm center amidst the tempest, gaze fixed on you, as if daring you to break the barrier of instinct that tells you to run. The air thickens, becoming stifling. Panic gnaws at your insides. You bolt, barreling toward the cabin, blood pounding in your ears. You can feel the pull of the unknown behind you, the weight of the wood's shadows trying to anchor you to this moment. You reach for the door, slamming it shut behind you and bolting it tight, your heart racing. Yet the tapping continues into the silence, reverberating against the walls. Shocked and trembling, you retreat into the light of the fireplace, pulling your knees to your chest, desperately trying to breathe as the warmth comforts your chilled skin. But the sound doesn't stop, it merely transforms, morphing into soft whispers that slither under your skin. "You found us," echoes a voice, faint yet so close, a chilling caress that sends shivers draping over you. You glance around the room, your heart seized by the creeping realization that all is not well, all is not as you left it. You pick up your phone, but the screen remains dark, dead, as if the very air itself has conspired to sever you from the outside world. Desperation surges through you. You scoot back against the hearth, eyes darting around, scanning the shadows that have grown even darker, congregating in corners and around the furniture. The walls themselves seem to pulse, cave inward as if breathing, almost alive. The tapping resumes, benevolent tap-tap-tap that seems to invite you somewhere. It echoes through your mind, a call you can't ignore. You realize that the whispers have changed. They are no longer just echoes but words, muddled and dulcet. Come outside. Come play. No, you shake your head, heart racing. You shuffle backward until your back hits the wooden wall, cold and unyielding. You want to scream, to shout until the walls break and the forest falls silent again, but the fear constricts your throat, a lingering fog that has crept in deeper. Please. You can't tell from where the words come. It could be from you, or perhaps from the shadows closing in, but it takes shape, guilt and sorrow lacing through that single plea until it feels almost familiar, like an echo of a memory you can't quite recall. Please. The tapping resumes, relentless and magnetic, pulling you with a sinister invitation you desperately want to resist. There is a looming decision before you, the depth of wrongness pressing against your skull. Breathing deeply, you battle against the swell of anxiety that rises, flooding your senses with dread as the door rattles. It is then that you hear it, the laughter. It's a sweet, lilting sound that dangles in the air like a deceptive melody, beckoning you out once again, but now there's something more. Layered beneath that mirth is a desperate plea, an urgency that tugs at the edges of empathy. You strain your ears, desperate to catch that thread of childhood innocence, pulling it away from the dark. And then the whispers swirl around, filling the room with warmth as they call out again. We won't hurt you. We only want to play. You remember that moment from your childhood, the laughter echoing through the halls, chasing each other around old furniture and down narrow hallways, lost in games made from dreams. You shake your head. No, you can't submit to the memories. You can't let them pull you in. You refuse to give in to the shadows that now writhe impatiently at your periphery, growing more distinct, more defined. You can see shapes emerging, ancient spirits once lost, eyes locked onto yours with an unsettling familiarity. Perhaps these shadows are friends from long ago, memories warped beneath the confusion of night's embrace. But the laughter lingers, mirth laced with despair. Memories unfurl like banners in the dark, painfully beautiful and threatening all the same. You look toward the door, where fleeting shapes flicker. Do they know something? Are they drawing you toward a truth long buried? Or are they mere illusions? Step by step, you approach the door, heart thundering, the very earth pulsing beneath your skin. The tapping ceases. A waiting silence falls over the room, wrapping you in a cocoon of anticipation. You pause at the threshold, one hand resting on the rattling doorknob. What lies beyond? As the door creaks open slowly, the breath of nature greets you like long-forgotten friends, and the shadows slip back into the night. The faintest flicker of moonlight dances across the clearing, merging the familiar with the unknown, a game stretching, unfolding before you. The laughter resumes, a siren song bubbling from the depths. And as you step outside, that familiar feeling washes over you, the exhilarating warmth of play mingling with the chilling notion that you might have crossed an unseen boundary, stepping deeper into the woods where nothing is as it seems. For here, in the embrace of the forest, the lines between friend and foe begin to blur, and what you might discover is the greatest game of all, one that stretches beyond life or death. You pulse with fear and anticipation, the doorway to uncharted darkness lingering behind you. In the woods, laughter and whispers swirl together in a chaotic dance, awaiting your answer. You take a breath and step forward into the depths of uncertainty,